Awesome. Well, thank you to everyone who's joined thus far. Hopefully some more people will filter in as we get started. I'm very excited for the webinar today. We've got a guest speaker from University of Toledo to speak more, to educate us on all things U Toledo. I'll give it away to Twee and Shin real quick so that they can introduce themselves, and then we'll get started with Sarah. There will be a Q&A session at the end where I will let everyone into the room. So hold any questions till then, and hopefully between Sarah and the Wellspring team, we'll be able to get any questions answered. So take it away, Twee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Thúy, and I'm in job for Vietnam and Southeast Asia market. So if you have any question after this webinar, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you, Sarah.
Is it my time, Darby? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Xin, and I'm the Director of China in Beijing. And thank you so much for joining our webinar today. So if you have any questions or inquiries, please feel free to reach out to me or even my colleague Vivian, who is based in Hangzhou, and also my other colleague Patrick, who is based in Guangzhou. And we are more than happy to help you. Thank you, Darby.
Yeah, of course. We also have a rep from Taiwan who wasn't able to make it tonight, Rich. So if you're located in that region, we can definitely get you in touch with Rich in case you have any questions. But other than that, I'll give it away to Sarah to do her presentation.
All right. So hello, everyone. I am so glad that you're able to join today. So I'm going to cover a lot of the main points about the University of Toledo. At the end of the session, we can, of course, go over any questions that you might have. And before we start as well, so just to give you a little background on myself, I completed my master's degree at the University of Toledo in May of 2022. So while it was during the pandemic, I did have a bit of the student experience. So I kind of get to tell you about that kind of from my own perspective as well. So we will get started. So one thing about the University of Toledo that can be very helpful for students is we have a large variety of different courses. So over 120 plus undergraduate majors. A lot of our international students choose to go into STEM for obvious reasons. The extra OPT time, for example. So we have a lot of students in engineering. We also have a lot of students who are in business, as well as a variety of the health programs. And then we have a few that trickle into education and some of the humanities as well. So this is just a snapshot of our university, and I think it is important to point out the GPA that you see in the corner here. So a 3.56 is the average incoming freshman GPA. And this is important because for international students, that 3.5 overall GPA based on their high school grades will get them our highest automatic and renewable scholarship through our office. So students that have that 3.5 and above will receive $9,160 per year in scholarships through our office. And this is basically the price that in-state students pay. So it's the exact same amount, just with a small $100 fee for processing, but that's the only difference in that tuition price from those students that are high achieving with a 3.5 GPA and the in-state students who live in Ohio. Another thing I would like to point out is just how many countries are represented. So 82 countries represented at the University of Toledo across the undergraduate years and the graduate years. We love our international students at the University of Toledo. So there's always some kind of cultural event happening on campus, all different groups from all different parts of the world. That's part of one of the reasons that I chose to work at UT. I'm very passionate about international students and about different cultures. So it's definitely a great place for me to be and for our international students. When I mentioned the groups and the organizations, over 400 plus student organizations. So sometimes, that might be fun to mention to the students that you work with. in case they're really interested in that full American college experience. There's lots of opportunities to get involved. Okay, so just a bit about where we are located. So we are located in the state of Ohio. We are located near the Great Lakes, near Lake Erie, about 2 hours away from Lake Erie. But you will see all of these major cities located around us. So within 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, there's 36 Fortune 500 companies. This is important for students because if they're completing co-ops or internships, whether it's during the academic year with engineering or during the summer in that extra free time, students have the opportunity to go and intern with the companies located in a lot of these large American cities. It also makes it great for students to travel kind of throughout the area. So just to kind of put us on the map, I like this layout to kind of show you a bit about where we are located. Down here at the bottom of this slide, you will see some of those Fortune 500 companies that are kind of native to Toledo. So we pride ourselves in the Jeep. I don't know if you've heard of Jeeps, but we're very proud of that coming from our area. Okay, so again, with the co-ops and the internships, and this is really important for those engineering students. Engineering science students are going to be completing 3 paid co-ops over the course of their 4.5-year program. Engineering technology students have the opportunity to complete those paid co-ops. And why would you turn down that opportunity? Because this allows those students to not only be paid, which really helps with supporting those costs for tuition, but also to gain experience while they are still in school as students, which is of course very helpful for when they graduate. But it's not only the engineering students. I believe it's like 93% of the students in the business college also participate in internships, but any student from any program can participate in internships. So these are, again, just some of the Fortune 500 companies where some of our students have completed those co-ops and internships. And this is a bit about a student testimonial here. One thing I just want to point out, kind of a snapshot of what the University of Toledo offers students. We are a very affordable university when you compare us to a lot of the other American higher education institutions, but we also are really focused on that hands-on, getting students that hands-on experience so that they have those skills for their field that they're prepared for after they graduate. So affordable yet quality education, that's kind of my snapshot of the University of Toledo. Okay, and I mentioned a little bit about the engineering programs earlier in the presentation, just because they are so popular with our international students. So with these paid co-ops, this is the breakdown of how much those students are going to be earning when they are completing those co-ops. So these co-ops start in the 2nd year of the program, and you're going to be working, the students will be working 40 hours a week throughout that semester that they're completing the co-ops for. So it's a lot of money for students to be earning. For example, let's see, computer science and engineering is a very popular program. So $18, a little over $18 an hour, that's a pretty good amount for a student that is still in college. So this really helps our international students pay for the tuition and fees. But another thing to point out, we have almost 4,000 engineering students, so 3,800 engineering students, and 1,600 co-ops are taking place every year. And students are not on their own when they are looking for these co-ops. There is an office dedicated to helping those students be placed into a co-op that's located in the College of Engineering. So the help is always there. I always tell students, if you are interested, not only in the co-ops, of course, but whether it's additional internship or research opportunities, your professors and, the college that you are a part of is always going to be your best resource in connecting you to those things. Okay. So the College of Business, also very popular amongst our international students. So I think I was confusing the job placement rate with the internship participation rate. 91% of students are placed into a job within their field from this college, and 85% of those students are participating in those internships. But again, if students want to participate in an internship, they're never going to be turned down from that opportunity. It's kind of all about putting yourself out there, asking those questions, getting yourself connected. The opportunities will follow. So down below, all of our business programs are listed. So we have quite a variety for students to choose from. There's 11 programs of study. So yeah. Okay, so College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics. One thing I want to point out here are our new programs. So data science is a new program. A lot of students are choosing this field because it's very popular. You're able to make a lot of money right after graduation. So these students, they don't even need to go back to graduate school to be earning $80,000 to $100,000 and upwards after they graduate with their bachelor's degree. So this is becoming quite the popular program in the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics. A lot of our international students are also interested in biology, so this is the college that they would find themselves in as well. You'll note that physics is also part of this program, of this college. So if you have any specific questions about these programs, it's kind of a large variety, and I can provide you with some program sheets that kind of give you more information about those programs. Okay, so College of Arts and Letters. One program I want to point out here in the College of Arts and Letters is economics. So economics not only receives an additional scholarship, but it's also considered STEM. So those are two huge perks for students who might be interested in this area. So I believe the Shapiro Scholarship is $1,200 per year this year, and it changes with each year. So sometimes it might be slightly more, slightly less, but around $1,200 a year, an additional scholarship funding beyond what they might receive through my office, which could be $7,500 up to $9,160. So again, if a student is interested in economics, I would suggest, that they go for it, because this would be great, not only to help support those tuition expenses, but also to be considered STEM. Okay, so College of Nursing. One thing that I like to tell the students and the agents that I present to about the College of Nursing, just to talk about the cutting edge facilities that the students will be working in. So they actually have robotic patients that the students work on before they go on to work with the real human patients. So these robotic patients, they cry, they scream, they talk, and it's all to help prepare the students to work on, the real human patients. So this is kind of a fun thing to watch behind the scenes. But not only do the students have that opportunity, they also are working with other students in different medical fields. So this allows them to prepare to work with other medical professionals once they're actually in the hospitals or whatever setting that they will be working in. So for example, medical students might come together, pharmacy students, nursing students, they all get to work together to gain experience kind of communicating about those different health issues that they are addressing with those patients. Okay, I'll briefly touch on the American Language Institute. We do have an option for students who are not fluent in English. They do not meet the requirements to start a bachelor program, to complete some courses in English, which will prepare them to successfully enter into a bachelor program. So again, I'm not sure if this would be helpful for any of you, but if it is something you want to learn more about after the presentation, just let me know. Or anytime you come into contact with a student who might want some more English language training, I can provide more details about the American Language Institute. Okay, and so students who complete their bachelor's degree, it doesn't have to end there. They can go on to complete a graduate degree at the University of Toledo. So within our College of Graduate Studies, we have 634 international graduate students. So a pretty large chunk out of those 3,000 total students. They have the option to complete 185 graduate degree programs. So again, a lot to choose from. Below, you will see our top ranking graduate programs. So some things that stand out to me here: biological sciences, physics, chemistry, psychology is also a popular one amongst international students. So just some things to note in case your students have any questions about graduate study. Okay, so I've talked a lot about the different programs that we offer, generally just to kind of give you an idea of the different areas. But now I want to talk about the services that are available to students. So any student that comes to you, they might be a little nervous about going abroad for their college education. It's coming with lots of questions. I mean, how could it not? I studied abroad when I was an undergraduate student, and the questions are endless. Especially starting college and not having been in college before, you want to make sure that you are supported as a student. So I just want to share with you all some of the ways that we do support our international students and all students that come to campus. So my favorite are our success coaches. They are basically like personal assistants for these students. So in their first year, the students are assigned a success coach. And this success coach works with a group of students, and the students will get to know the success coach's name, their number, their contact information, where they're located. And over the 4 years, they have the opportunity to build a relationship with this person, to go to them with any questions. I see we have a hand raised, so go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, sorry, I gotta let everybody in.
Oh, okay.
I see we have a question already. Someone's raising their hand. Feel free to unmute yourself at any point, or you can always write in the chat or in the Q&A feature as well. So we've got a few methods, so pick your poison. Do you have any written? I see one hand raised. Was that a question or? Maybe.
And it's okay if not, we can come back to it. Or you can put it in the chat as well, and I'd be happy to answer the question. All right, well, we will come back to your question because maybe there's some technical things going on, but okay, so to go back to the success coaches, the students can ask these success coaches any questions that they have, and that person is trained in either answering those questions or directing the student to someone who can get those questions answered for them. All students also have access to their academic advisors. So this person is going to be their go-to for anything with class registration, course and program questions. They're going to make sure that the students are right on track and that they're not spending any extra time or money where it doesn't need to be spent, because we all know that it's already going to be something that students are working really hard towards. So we don't want them to veer off track unnecessarily. So those academic advisors are going to make sure that students know exactly which courses that they need to take to complete their program on time. Another thing that I want to mention that might not always come to mind is our disability and accessibility services. So this is not only for students who might have a physical disability or something that you might consider a disability off the top of your head. Students that are dealing with test anxiety, for example, let's say that they know the material very well when they are on their own and they've studied very hard, but when it comes to taking the test in the classroom, they get very anxious and they're not able to be successful at that test. So they are able to actually take the test in a separate room, with a different amount of time if the professor and them have a conversation and are able to get that student connected to those resources, then that student will have that additional time to complete the test. But it's just kind of an example of, if a student has a challenge of any kind, the professors, the success coaches, the general university is there to help. So just something for students to know. Always, ask your questions, put yourself out there. And if you need help, make sure that someone knows so that they can get you that assistance. So our Office of International Student and Scholar Services, this office is near and dear to my heart. I actually completed an internship with them when I was in graduate school. So they go above and beyond to help our international students with all sorts of things outside of the academics. So, life can consist of a lot of other different questions for international students that domestic students might not necessarily have to think about. So visa requirements, for example, or international health insurance, or navigating on and off campus housing for the first time, signing up for international student orientation or banking needs. So all of these things are, what the Office of International Student and Scholar Services is set up to support and help our students with. They are located in the same building as my office, so it's pretty easy access for those international students to come and stop by. It's kind of a one-stop shop with our international offices. We also, another favorite part about the Office of International Student and Scholar Services, they put on different cultural events throughout the year. So for example, our international dinner hosted, I would say, about 400 people last year. Students from all different cultures come in and choose to put on performances or, show off a talent that is special to their culture. There's different dishes from all over the world. It's a formal event, so it's just a lot of fun. A lot of the staff and domestic students will attend, and it's just a really good time. So another way that we kind of showcase our appreciation and love for the international students that we have on campus at UT. So again, I'll briefly touch on this just so that you might be prepared in case any students ask about ways to get involved. So we have over 400 plus student organizations. Students can also start their own organization with 7 or more people. So the student organizations range from, fun things like getting involved with a dance club or maybe different kinds of sports. We have every kind of sport you can really imagine. But it's also things like professional organizations where students can get involved with their peers in a certain program and gain experience outside of the classes and outside of, their typical homework. So maybe they're going out into the community and volunteering in their field and just generally networking, in that program area that they are interested in. So lots and lots and lots of different opportunities to get involved. We even have a hot chocolate club. Students just get together and drink hot cocoa and just have, a chat. So it ranges from all different kinds of things. Okay, so just to highlight some of the facilities that we have on campus for students to use for free. So up in the top, you'll see a building that's all lit up. That is our student recreation center. So students are able to go and work out here at all hours of the day. It's completely free. There's Olympic-sized pools. There's workout equipment of all different kinds, all different types of courts for them to get their friends together and play basketball or badminton, tennis, you name it. We also have all of our athletic events free for our students. So, whether it's a basketball game that they're attending, soccer, swimming, track, I mean, you name it. Again, American universities are all about their sports, and the University of Toledo is no different. We're a Division I school, so there's always something going on with athletics to go and see. For the animal lovers, Toledo Zoo is about 10 to 15 minutes away from campus. It's one of the top zoos in the United States. It's one of my favorite places in the area. They always have events going on throughout the year. So it's more than just the animals. It's really a great way to kind of get out and, experience more of Toledo. So Toledo is the city that the University of Toledo is located in. We're a mid-sized city, so not too big and not too small. That allows us to be affordable, but we're also a city that offers all of the things that a major large city would offer. So, cafes, museums, concert venues, different sports venues, all different kinds of restaurants from all different cultures. So it's really a great place to be. Okay, so now the burning questions that we get, of course, from our students and the agents that they work with. So our scholarships. So our scholarships through my office are based only on the high school grades that students have. So if a student has completed some post-secondary education, we of course also consider that. If they are transfer students, they'd be eligible for the $8,500 per year. But your traditional student coming straight from high school and going into college for the first time is going to be eligible for either the $7,500 scholarship per year or the $9,160 scholarship per year. So again, this all depends on the GPA. 3.0 is where it starts to 3.49 for the 7,500. And then, as I mentioned at the start of the presentation, those students with a 3.5 GPA and above are eligible for our highest scholarship. So these scholarships are renewable for all years of their program. For those 4 years, they just need to keep a 3.0 GPA over the course of those of their program, which, not that I'm going to say it's not difficult to keep because every student is different, but generally a 3.0 is kind of the basic benchmark for success in your program anyway. So, the better the grades, it's always going to be better for the student and better for their outcomes. They always have those support systems to rely on as well. Okay, so tuition and fees. So tuition and fees are broken down into 2 separate categories. The only thing that differs between these 2 chunks here is whether the student is living on campus or off campus. So students that are coming directly from high school who are 18, 19 years old, they're going to be living on campus. They're required to live on campus for 2 years. It is possible to get an exemption in the second year. And I do have a form for that if you have a student that's interested in doing that or has any questions about that. If a student is typically 21 and older, or if they are a transfer student, then they can live off campus. So it is cheaper to live off campus, although living on campus does really kind of contribute to that overall college experience, especially in the first year and into the second year. So in the cost to live on campus, it includes everything. So the room and the meal plan, that's all included in those on-campus living expenses. For students living off campus, it's $9,750 in estimated expenses. So of course, some students are going to be a lot more frugal. I know that my budget, when I was a student, I wasn't spending as much as $9,750. So I would say 7,000 or so, up to 9,750. It just depends on the student's lifestyle and how budget friendly they're willing to be. So full-time tuition and general fees, that's going to be $20,822 per year. We also have our estimated miscellaneous expenses at around $1,300. And then the medical insurance for 12 months is going to be $2,528. So this is the insurance plan that is offered through the University of Toledo, but some international students have been able to get insurance through the government for free. This does require a bit more research for them on their part, as we do offer our own insurance. So they would kind of be going outside of that offered insurance to kind of go on their own to get that free health insurance, but it is possible. So just something that I want to point out. So we can go over any questions about tuition and fees and scholarships at the end too, because I'm almost done with this slide. Okay, so for admission requirements, I had mentioned a bit about it before, but this kind of breaks it down with a little more detail. So those high school transcripts for all students, unless they are transfer students, then we would just need the transcripts they've completed for the post-secondary education, the English test scores. So there's a few of those minimum scores listed there next to the tests. And then math scores are only required for students applying to the College of Engineering. So examples include the SAT, the ACT, or the ALEX test, which is an online test that can be taken from home at any time. It's $20, and it's a placement test. So students are not going to have to take it for a second time when they come to campus. So if they haven't taken the SAT and they're interested in engineering, then the ALEX test might be a great option for them. So the items in green are going to be the items necessary for admission. The items in yellow are necessary to release the I-20. So a copy of passport and bank statement. We do prefer that you send everything all at once. It just makes it easier for everyone because it allows the student to receive their I-20 much quicker when we have it all at once. We can just process it there and then. So just something to point out, but it is not required to have the passport and the bank statement for admission. Okay, so how to apply. So when applying for the student, one thing that is important is to select the international application and not the undergraduate application. I haven't seen any issues with Wellspring doing that, so I won't spend too much time going over this. But if you ever have any questions, you can always email me and I would definitely be happy to help you. So go Rockets. That was my presentation. I hope it was exciting enough, as exciting as a presentation can be. It's a little late here, so I tried to keep the energy up, but does anyone have any questions for me now?
Feel free to just unmute yourself and ask away.
Yes, I can hear you.
So, how much GPA the student needs to meet to be able to take part in the co-op program?
So I heard the first part of your question. What about the co-op program?
Yeah, GPA the student need to meet to be able to attend the co-op program.
Hey Sarah, I don't know if you're talking, but you are a little bit frozen, so. Were you saying something?
Yeah, I just try to restart. So I think I can answer this one. for Miss Tan, could you please send me the file about the unique? I think that we will send later this presentation also, right? Or the agent.
Yeah, we can distribute any materials afterwards that anyone requests, yes.
Cecily, Sarah.
So I see a question about GPA needed for the co-op program. It looks like Sarah might have been having some technical difficulties, so she might join us in a second. If not, the co-op program is specific to the engineering program. So if you look at, I can get the slides for you on the engineering program, whatever requirements are required to be admitted to the U Toledo engineering program would be the same as the co-op program. They're one and the same. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to unmute yourself or write them in. It looks like Sarah may have got kicked out or needs to rejoin or whatever it is, Zoom things. You can always reach out. What was that tweet?
I see her in participant.
Oh, I might need to let her back in. Yep. Okay. Sorry, Sarah.
No, you are fine. My computer was plugged in with an extension cord and something crazy happened. So I am back. Sorry, everyone.
We had a question about the GPA requirements of the co-ops. I mentioned that the co-op program is part of the engineering program. So
Yep.
whatever GPA is required for the engineering program, but if you want to correct me or add any more, please feel free. We also have another question about the length of co-ops and if the university helps students to find the company that they do their co-op with.
Yeah, so those are all great questions. So Darby is 100% correct with the GPA required for the co-ops. If the student is admitted into the College of Engineering, generally 3.0 is what we like to look at for students admitted into those engineering programs. Sometimes it can dip a little bit lower. So as long as the student meets the requirement for the engineering program, they can participate. The length of the co-op programs, it's going to be one semester out of an academic year. So starting in the second year of the program, students will either complete their co-op in the first or second semester. It all kind of depends on what semester they are planning to do their co-op. So we push for international students to do their co-op in the first semester because that kind of gets it rolling. It gets the extra funding, for them kind of coming in. And the length would just be that semester for 3 semesters total. So one co-op in the second year, one co-op in the third year, one co-op in the fourth year. Students work 40 hours a week in those co-ops, and they are not completing any classes during the semester that they are completing the co-op. And then what was the other question? Was there another question about the co-ops? Oh, if students have support. So yes, with those co-ops, they are not alone in finding the co-op. They are able to access an office in the College of Engineering that helps them reach out to companies, that prepares them for interviews. We also have career expos where those employers will come to campus and students can meet with them in person. So the support is there. Now the co-op won't be handed to them. They do have to apply for the co-ops and speak with the different companies, but the support is definitely there to help them.
Great. And we have one more question in the chat. If an international student applied to the engineering program without any SAT scores, would the student need to finish the math test first, then the application, or applied first and take the math test. So what's the process of the order of operations, if you will, to taking all the tests and application?
Excellent question. So for engineering, math scores are required for admission. They can apply without the math scores, but they wouldn't be able to be admitted until we receive the math scores. So let's say they applied, uploaded their English scores, uploaded their high school transcripts, that is possible. But we would have to wait until we have the math scores to admit them. If they don't want to take the SAT, they have the option to take the ALEX test. It's an online test. It only costs $20 compared to the SAT. It's a bit more expensive. The SAT is more expensive. So this is another option for students that don't want to take the SAT, but who need those math scores to be admitted into the College of Engineering.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any further questions? And again, if you have any, oh, yeah.
I want to ask regarding the co-op, is it only for engineering students or any other major also can take the co-op?
So the co-ops through the College of Engineering are unique because they're paid at a very high rate. And they're also part of the College of Engineering programs. So students outside of the College of Engineering can participate in internships and research opportunities and other co-ops, but it's not the same thing as the engineering co-ops, which are structured through the College of Engineering. So all students can become involved in internships, research opportunities, and co-ops. Some are paid, some are not paid. Outside of the College of Engineering, it's set up a little bit differently.
Okay, so it's doable. They can do some kind of work, right, with other major.
With other majors, yes, they can do internships, research, other co-ops. Yes, they can.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Sarah. I have a questions about transfer students. So if
Okay.
a transfer student want to apply, do they need to do the WES transcript evaluations or just simply send you their college level transcript to you?
Yeah, so we would need the college transcript sent by the institution to our international inbox. So it would need to come directly from that institution. We would also need the transcripts to be translated into English by a certified translator.
Okay.
Yep, that's the only requirement for the transcripts.
Okay, thank you. And
Mhm.
another question about English requirements. Like if some of the Chinese students can meet the direct, TOEFL or IELTS entry requirements, can it apply without any English score? If so, how long will they stay in the intensive English programs in order to process to the academic courses?
So that is a great question. Students do need the English scores in order to be admitted. So if their English scores do not meet the minimum requirements, then we cannot admit them into a bachelor program because we want them to be successful. So they do have the opportunity to complete the American Language Institute courses. This all depends on the student's English level. Maybe they only spend one semester in the English Language Institute. Maybe they spend a year. It just really depends on the student and their existing level of English and how hard they are willing to work at that fluency. Once they are able to complete the ALI, then they are able to be admitted into their program that satisfies the English language requirement.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, Ocean.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do we have any further questions? If you end up having a question at a later date, always please feel free to reach out to your Wellspring rep that's in your region. We can always get any question answered that way.
Hi, might I know what's the popular majors at UT?
So I would say amongst our international students, the College of Engineering is very popular. So computer science is very popular. That's probably the one I see the most amongst international students. We also get a lot of students interested in business. So management, for example, is a popular business program. The University of Toledo has its own medical school. So we do attract international students interested in some of those medical related programs such as nursing, biology, pharmacy. Those are a few off the top of my head. So when it really comes down to the popular programs, engineering, business, health related fields, and then we do get some psychology students interested as well.
Thank you.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
So, if a student want to transfer from a community college with nursing major to University of Toledo, is there any special requirement for that?
Nope. So we get a lot of transfer students from community colleges. They would just need to provide their transcripts from that institution in English. So a certified translated version of those documents, as well as the original documents sent from that institution directly to us.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any last questions before we end the webinar?
Well, thank you so much, everyone. I really look forward to working with you all in the future. I know we've already had some great connections with students. I'm really excited to visit Vietnam in just a week and a half or so. So thank you again for taking the time to meet with me virtually today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. This was super helpful. We really appreciate it.
I'm glad.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you,
You are
everyone.
all very welcome.
All right, everybody have a great day, and hopefully we'll get some U Toledo students soon.
Woohoo. Yeah, sounds good.
All right, everyone
right,
have a good
everyone.
one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.